Well, to debate all of these claims is Alan Dershowitz, author of The Preventive State and Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyer, and comedian and activist Bاسم Yusuf. Well, welcome to both of you. Alan Dershowitz, I know you said emphatically you do not believe Jeffrey Epstein was a spy, but as more and more stuff appears in these document dumps from the files, there is more and more stuff linking him to Israel, to Ehud Barak, to all sorts of stuff. Are you still as certain?
More so. Look at the chronology. As far as I know, he doesn't meet Ehud Barak until after he pleads guilty. And if he had been a spy before he pleaded guilty, the first person he would have told that was me. I was trying to get him the best possible deal. And I asked him over and over again, what can you tell me that will get you a better deal? Do you have anything on Trump? Do you have anything on Clinton? Do you have anything about intelligence? He would have told me. Instead, in 1999, 1998, I was in Israel doing research for a book, and he called me from Paris saying, I want to come to Israel. I've never met any Israelis. I don't know anybody there. Could you arrange a lunch for me with Israel's 5 smartest people? And so I did. I got the Justice of the Supreme Court, the Attorney General, interesting people that I thought he would meet. And we had lunch, and then he and I took a walk in the shuk, and I bought him a T-shirt which said, I'm a member of the IDF, kind of khaki T-shirt, and he loved it. He wore it. There's no possibility that he was working for intelligence at the time I was representing him. Now we have a chronological issue. He meets Ehud Barak, but that's later. Did Mossad hire him after he was convicted? Well, maybe. Your previous guest talked about planes involving Victoria's Secret. Well, Wexner didn't buy Victoria's Secret until well after the early time. So one has to look at the dates. One has to look at the chronology. I hate to pour water on a fascinating conspiracy theory. It's so much fun to talk about. But from what I know, I just don't see any evidence that he ever worked for the Mossad. And if he did, why wouldn't he have told me? I actually was a lawyer. I represented the Mossad back in the 90s when 3 Mossad agents were caught in Cyprus, and Cyprus thought they were working for Turkey. In fact, they weren't, and I helped to get them out. I have a very good relationship with the current head of the Mossad, the former head of the Mossad. Obviously, I've asked them that question, and there's no evidence at all.
Alan, I would say this.
Alan,
I would say this to you. If I was to ask you about all the despicable crimes that Epstein was committing, right, you would say, because I think you said it publicly, you didn't know about any of that, right? So, could it be that Jeffrey Epstein just had a completely different life that he just did not tell you about, and that included despicable human sex trafficking, and it may also have included being a spy. I mean, clearly, if he wasn't telling you about all the sex trafficking, which was a huge amount of his life, then why is it surprising if he kept the rest of it from you?
Well, it's very surprising because telling me about his sex life didn't help him. Telling me that he worked for the Mossad would have given him a get-out-of-jail-free card. Remember, Jeffrey Epstein hated me before he died. He wrote all kinds of letters to Woody Allen as to what a terrible lawyer I was. He wouldn't pay me my fee. He fired me because he thought I had gotten him a terrible deal, that famous sweetheart deal. He ended up 18 months in prison. He was outraged. He didn't want to spend a minute in prison. I could have gotten him no jail time. If he had told me he worked for the Mossad, for the CIA, he was an intelligence source, it would have been a slam dunk for me to go to whoever I had to go to, even up to the President of the United States, and I would have gotten him a deal with no time at all. Epstein was a selfish SOB. He would do anything to avoid prison time. Why wouldn't he have told me that he worked for the Mossad if he worked for the Mossad? So, yeah, of course he's not going to tell me when I knew him as an academic acquaintance, he's not going to tell me he's having sex with young children. He hid that from everybody. He did have a separate life, a completely separate life. But once I was his lawyer, it was in his interest to tell me things that would benefit him. And I can't imagine anything benefiting him more than having worked for an intelligence agency, but I pressed him.
I mean,
on
some
that,
people might
and
be.
He didn't,
I'll come to Bassem in a moment, but some people will be listening to this going, "Hang on a second. You mean if he'd said he was working with the Mossad or CIA, then he would get off being a paedophile? In other words, you can commit crimes of paedophilia
he
against
wasn't accused of being
children,
no,
and you would simply not go to prison for it."
That's right. Let's be clear. He was charged with 2 counts. One, a 17-year and 10-month-old woman who he paid for prostitution. The other, a woman in her 20s who was a prostitute who he paid. Those were the only 2 things he pleaded guilty to. The only 2 things he's ever been convicted. He was never convicted of pedophilia. He was never convicted of trafficking. None of that. He may have done all of those things. But when I was representing him, all he was being charged with was these 2 counts of paying prostitutes, one who was 17 years old and 10 months. I could have gotten him no jail time for that if he had been a member of the Mossad. Any good lawyer could have parlayed his membership and his contribution to intelligence into a deal. Or, for example, if he had anything on Donald Trump or anything on Bill Clinton, of course any prosecutor would exchange this nobody, who nobody had ever heard of at the time, getting free from prison for, my God, the president, former president, future president. No, the best evidence is that he never, ever tried to tell me anything that would help him, that would support any of these theories about Clinton or Trump or the Mossad. So I am completely confident that he was not an intelligence asset. I wish, your previous guest is right. He would have been a perfect intelligence asset if I were the head of the Mossad. I would say, oh my God, now that I know who he knew, Bill Gates, everybody, the Sultan of this, the Sultan of that, sure, we try to recruit him, but they didn't know that at the time because he didn't have many of those friends back in the 1980s and 1990s. Many of them became his friends, ironically, after he got out of prison.
Okay, Bassem Youssef, you've been waiting patiently. Welcome back to Uncensored. What is your response to Alan Dershowitz?
Well, I think that what Mr. Alan Dershowitz just said is the best recruitment video for Mossad. Basically, they're telling people, if you're Mossad, you can get away with anything. The same thing that will happen with Tom Alexandrovich, the cybersecurity guy from Netanyahu's government who was arrested in Nevada for trying to lure a minor in an FBI stint operation, and he got off the hook. He traveled. He didn't even have to attend his trial. He did Zoom from Israel. And like Ori Solomon, just a couple of days ago, there was a biolab in Nevada that nobody is actually talking about. Actually, as a matter of fact, the mainstream media, they reported it, but they never mentioned his nationality as an Israeli who was running a biolab in Nevada that includes deadly viruses. If that was a Muslim, it would be like all over the news. So basically, Mr. Dershowitz is telling us, if you're Mossad, you have like an out of jail card. And you know what? Maybe he's right.
Or a CIA, or a CIA agent. That's true.
Mr. Alan, Mr. Dershowitz, I did not interrupt you a single second when you talked. So after you're done with the gaslighting, please let me finish. First of all, I think I'm now kind of leaning towards believing mainstream media, especially CBS and CNN under Barry Weiss and Larry Ellison. I mean, the evidence is there that he is actually a Russian asset. His girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, was the daughter of a Mossad super spy. He was represented by you, Mr. Dershowitz, Israel's favorite lawyer, who you're also a lawyer to the Mossad, which, of course, everything you tell us will be true. Ehud Barak was his place the whole time. He fled to Israel when he was charged with sex crimes, and he was pictured wearing an IDF shirt. He was funded by pro-Israel fanatics. He worked for the Rothschild. He donated to pro-Israel student groups. He was responsible for the Wagner's group's pro-Israel philanthropy. He supported Israel settlement projects. His friends were all Zionists. He referred to us as Goyim. He was involved in Israel diplomacy effort. He brokered security deals with Israel, and even a former Israeli intelligence officer, Ari Ben Menashe, like Mr. Ryan Grimm said. He said he ran a honeypot for Israel. So yes, of course, he was definitely a Russian spy. It makes sense. You know what? I'm by the way, Mr. Allen,
you're a good comedian. You're a good comedian. This is very funny.
I'm actually a huge fan of yours because I have known you since the 2000s. I mean, actually, you're one of the very few lawyers who are actually known in the Middle East. It's like watching a real-life courtroom drama lawyer. There's even T-shirts with your face in it in Egypt. And I've followed you for a while. And that's why I'm here today. When they told me Mr. Dershowitz is here, it's like, I have to be here just for the gaslighting, because the level of gaslighting isn't new. For more than 2.5 years, Mr. Dershowitz and his client, Israel, have gaslighted us in front of our eyes for 2.5 years with all of the destructions and the killing that we've seen in Gaza. But they, according to them, it's not a genocide, it's self-defense. He told us that every dead child is
not a genocide.
That the
it's
International
a blood libel
Court of Justice, I did not interrupt you, sir. That the International Court of Justice is a fake court, and Israel critics and anti-Semitic. Now, Mr. Jersey, please, I did not interrupt you. Don't interrupt me. I know that you're a lawyer and you do that. Objection,
I'm
Your Honor.
Interrupt
Don't
you
interrupt
if
me.
You use the word
now, the
genocide.
Epstein files are public. People can read them. People can see the horrible stuff that you, again, are gaslighting us. In your own word, you said that he's not a pedophile because he liked 15 and 16 years old, but not 11 and 12 years old.
No, I said 17 and 10 months.
People can read,
17 and 10
you
months.
can read the ages of the kids in the emails. They can read about the pizza, the ice cream, the
he
beef
wasn't
jerky.
Convicted.
And you can see the connection with Israel. And yet, here you are again, gaslighting us. This is your playbook, attacking the victims.
It's called
the Palestinians, Hamas,
it's
terrorists,
called truth.
Epstein victims, liars, prostitutes, drama students, and of course,
you say Hamas are not terrorists?
You have a history
you say Hamas
of hiring
are not
investigators
terrorists?
To dig through teenage girls at MySpace pages looking for marijuana photos.
What lawyers do.
You called a 16-year-old girl a thief in the Daily Mail. You got Epstein 13 months in county jail with work release for abusing 34 victims where he should have got life in prison. That's not a plea bargain. That's a spa package. And every single
you're
time,
just
your
lying.
defense is the
I
same.
challenge
She's
you
lying.
to defend.
She wants money.
I challenge you to defend
don't
your
believe what you
statement
read.
that
You
he got
represented
18
Stop
months.
interrupting me, Mr. Dershowitz.
You're
You
just
represented
lying.
a serial
You're just
child
lying.
predator and got him the deal of the century. 2 women accused you under oath. You settled for nearly $1 million. Innocent men don't pay. They go to trial.
That's another lie, not a penny.
Guilty
you're
men
you're
with
lying.
good lawyers.
You're defaming me. You are now going. You are now going to be sued. You are now going to be sued for saying I paid $1 million. You're going to be sued, and I would. Piers, I would recommend you cutting him off when he says that I paid $1 million. I didn't pay one penny. That's a lie.
And trust you instead.
Bassem, you've spoken for a long time.
Piers,
okay, Bassem, you've made it.
Mr. Alan
Bassem, you've spoken for a long time. Bassem, you've spoken for a long time. You've made a number of allegations.
There is going to be. I can tell you right now. I am going to.
I want Alan Dershowitz to respond. He keeps interrupting me, Piers. I didn't interrupt him.
Okay, I am going to.
Let him
I'm going to make it very clear.
But he shouldn't be interrupting
I'm going to make it very clear. I'm going to make it very clear. I'm filing a lawsuit immediately. I'm instructing my lawyers to file a lawsuit against him for saying I paid $1 million. What happened is a woman falsely accused me. She admitted she may have mistaken me and confused me for somebody else. She dropped all of her charges. Not a single penny was paid, nothing. And it's all in the agreement, all a matter of court record. You saying that I paid $1 million is going to result in you having to pay me many millions of dollars. What'd you say?
This is from the New Yorker.
The New Yorker never said anything like that. You know, you're such a liar. You know, I thought you were a comedian. I thought at least you'd be funny. You're just a liar. You're just somebody who is prepared to make any kind of anti-Semitic, anti-Israel statement.
Oh, anti-Semitic.
And you're willing to lie about it. Now, I want you to justify the million. I want you to justify that I paid $1 million. I want you to justify that. Will you justify it? Will you justify that I paid $1 million? Where did you get that piece of nonsense? Where did you make that up?
The New Yorker, sir.
You said Hamas is not a terrorist organization?
If you want to sue someone,
you show me the New Yorker and I'll pay you $1 million. You're a liar. The New Yorker didn't print that. You're lying.
Okay,
why don't we take a time out now? Go online, get the New Yorker, and show the people that are listening, the good people, the New Yorker. You're lying through your teeth. You're a despicable liar, and if you said it under oath, you'd be a perjurer. There is no truth to what you've said, period, and I'm going to sue you.
Oh, come on. You do. Is that what you
Finally,
do?
I shut him up.
No, I didn't shut up. You're just like
just
like cutting me. Mr. Allen, you went from I never got a massage on Epstein to I got a massage from a 50-year-old Russian woman named Olga. But I kept my underwear on.
My wife and I both received therapeutic. I received a neck massage back in the 1990s. I have never received an erotic massage in my life. I have never told a misstatement about this. And I want you to show everybody the New Yorker the claim that the New Yorker said I paid $1 million. It's an outright lie. You can look it up right now while we're talking. Show it to the people. Show them what you say the New Yorker said. Okay, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It is called for people to search it.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Everybody can see it.
It's called Alan Dershowitz, Devil's Advocate.
Maybe it'll mitigate your damages.
By Coney Brock, July 29, 2019. You can read there. It's there.
Read me the quote. Read me the quote about $1 million. You can't find it because it's not there, because you made it up and because you're a despicable liar. And you're going to be sued. And if you want to mitigate your damages, then you'll show me the New Yorker. But you're not going to show me the New Yorker, because everybody out there is going to look you in the eye and say, you lied on international television about Dershowitz paying $1 million and the New Yorker saying it. It is false. Categorically false. I'm calling you a liar. You can sue me for defamation. And if you can produce the New Yorker article, you'll win that case. But you can't, because it doesn't exist.
No, sir, I can read it to you right now. I mean, it's there.
Yeah, read it to me right now. Read it to me. Let's hear.
Okay. Do you have a second?
I have more than a second. I have all the time you want. Read me a New Yorker statement that says, I paid $1 million to the woman who accused me falsely and who admitted that she may have misidentified me with somebody else. You read me that right now.
Yeah.
Silence. Silence.
So, dude, it's a big article.
Profound silence. Refine me the relevant point. Find it for me. We have all the time in the world. Find it for me. Let's go. Find it for me. You can look it up. Google has, we would say, Dershowitz $1 million.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
We caught you.
In 2015, when Jeffrey's allegation against Ghislaine Murdoch and Epstein became, just before a trial was to begin in May 2019, the amount was undisclosed, but Jeffrey reportedly received a multi-million-dollar settlement. The allegation went in...
Who did?
Wait, dude. Jeffrey.
Yeah, let's go.
Veronica.
So you said I paid $1 million to the woman who accused me falsely. I want you to quote that from the New Yorker. And if you can't, admit you're a liar.
Say now.
Silence. Profound silence.
Dude, stop it. Stop.
Guilty silence.
Dude, it is a... Guys, yes, here it is. Oh,
no, it isn't. No, it isn't. You're lying. Silence.
Oh, here it is. In April 2016, the case settled. There was no such settlement. With the press reported that the agreement...
What case?
Wait. The press reported that the agreement included a financial arrangement implying that Jeffrey's team had paid it. In fact, Dershowitz's insurance company had paid Jeffrey's lawyers in negotiations. The parties has discussed a figure of nearly $1 million, with $50,000 going to Dershowitz, which would allow him to claim a payment. The final amount has not been disclosed.
But you know it. A, you know it. Number B,
dude,
this had nothing to do with Virginia.
You want to go and
this had nothing to do with the woman who accused me. This was a lawsuit between lawyers, and it had nothing to do with this accusation. Zero. You made up the whole story. The New Yorker never reported it. Why would your insurance company
pay the lawyers?
They also paid me. There was a mutual settlement where both sides paid sums to each other.
And they got like
each of us received payments covering our legal fees, and this was about lawyers. This was not about any accusation.
You know what, guys?
Against me.
I invite everybody to go to read the New Yorker article and see
the
pattern of lying that Mr. Dershowitz has done over the years.
So, all right, let me get involved now. Let me say something now.
Let's get back to the merits. We know he's a liar. We know he's not a funny comedian.
Come on, liar, anti-Semitic. It's the same thing.
All right, let me pull it back to the bigger picture.
Why would I believe you if you have lied many times?
Let me pull it back. Alan, I wanted to just talk to you about something you said earlier, because there's been a bit of confusion about this, I think, in the public domain. You said in the end that the settlement that Epstein made pertained to a 21-year-old and a 17-year-old. But many of the contemporaneous reports about this settlement refer to a 14-year-old girl who Epstein had paid for a massage.
That was not part of the case.
So can you explain?
That was not part of the case. The indictment.
But that precipitated the investigation, right?
Let me tell you what happened. A 14-year-old girl was heard over the phone talking to her another friend about whether or not she could get a massage from an older man. That precipitated the investigation. But the investigation culminated not in any kind of an indictment regarding that 14-year-old. There was no evidence of it. And so in the end, the 14-year-old claim disappeared. The only evidence that they were able to prove to get a grand jury indictment was a 17-year-old and 10-month person and a woman in her 20s, an adult who has agency. Both of them in the indictment were called prostitutes. And he was indicted for paying money to soliciting two prostitutes, one of whom was 17 years old and 10 months. The 14-year-old was never part of the indictment in the case.
Clear, legally, okay, but Alan, to be clear, the 17-year-old was a legal minor.
Of course, and that's why he pleaded guilty to it and went to jail for it. He deserved to go to jail.
And do you
for
believe?
17 and 10
do you believe?
Old. Yeah.
So I interviewed one of the legal team on behalf of some of these girls involved in that case, who said that he was offended about the characterization of any minor as a prostitute.
Well, then he should complain to the prosecution. It's what the prosecution put in the indictment. We didn't write the indictment. The prosecution put it in the indictment. They did an investigation. They found out that these were young women who were coming for pay, were being paid money to give massages. They defined that as prostitution. It wasn't us who did that. That was the prosecutors who did that. So that's all.
But when you say he wasn't convicted, okay. But when you say he wasn't convicted as a paedophile, he was though. If you do a deal that involves a minor,
look, you can quibble over words, but medical definition of pedophile.
Well, no, it's the legal definition, isn't it?
He pleaded. No, that's not the legal definition. The legal definition is underage. The word pedophile is never used legally for anybody who's 17 and 10 months. But we're quibbling. He pleaded guilty to 17 and 10 months. He was guilty of that. It's a despicable, terrible thing. He may have had sex with even younger people, but he was never convicted of that. He was never charged with that. He probably would have been charged with it had he stayed alive, but he wasn't. But let's stick to the facts. He pleaded guilty only to 2 charges of soliciting a 17, 10-month-old and an above-age person for prostitution. That's what the state charged him with. That's what he pleaded guilty to. That's what the federal government agreed would be the deal that would terminate the federal prosecution. That's what happened. He hated me for that.
If you have any sexual relations with a minor, yeah, but Alan, if you, I mean, talk about quibbling, but if you have sexual relations with a minor, you're a pedophile.
No, well, I don't want to fight with that, because you can call him whatever you want. That's fine. You call him a pedophile. But no medical doctor, no psychologist will tell you that a 17-year-old, 10-month woman who's taking money to give massages is subject to the other person being called a pedophile. But let's not get into that. Call him a pedophile. That's fine. He pleaded guilty to charges of having sex for money with a minor. Yes, he did that. And he did much worse than that. And he was a despicable human being who deserves no pity whatsoever. But that doesn't give anybody license to simply lie about what happened. For example, one of the papers in Israel, when talking about Ehud Barak, said he was convicted of having sex with a 14-year-old. No, he wasn't. He was investigated for that. And the investigation terminated with no prosecution for a 14-year-old. Did he have sex with a 14-year-old? I have no idea. Maybe the prosecution has an idea. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. But it's not true that he was convicted of that. Never.
So what is your assessment, Alan Dershowitz, now of what Jeffrey Epstein did? And why is it that no really high-profile American men in particular have been brought to account for what was going on?
Well, one name has been. One of the names that was recently disclosed by Congress people yesterday was Leslie Wexner. And I think it's very appropriate to investigate Leslie Wexner. He went back to Jeffrey Epstein many years. Let me give you my assessment of what happened. Look, there were real victims, horrible victims, people who should never have been put through this, people who are underage, and I have tremendous compassion for these victims. But then there's another category of people, women who are 25, who came back over and over again and received $150, $200. Then they went and they recruited 14 and 15-year-olds for Epstein, and they were paid to recruit for Epstein. These people should also be investigated. They may have been victims, but they were also perpetrators. It's a lot grayer than the black and white of victimization and survivalization and all of that. It's much more complex than that. But there's no justifying what Epstein did. It was terrible. It was awful. I wish I had never laid eyes on that SOB. He's an awful, awful human being. That's the job of a criminal defense lawyer, to defend and get the best deal. I thought I got the best deal. He thought I got a terrible deal.
Bاسم, Yusuf, what is your wider view about the Epstein scandal and the, so far, very limited accountability for other people involved?
Well, you see, I'm actually like the FBI just dumped millions of unredacted or redacted Epstein files on the public and said, you know what? Here you go. Have fun. It's like a scavenger hunt. Like you expect, like it's kind of like a TikTok challenge. Can you find a pedophile? You have the FBI, you have the DOJ, you have unlimited resources, unlimited power, unlimited budgets. This is the biggest sex trafficking scandal in modern history. Billionaires, politicians, royalty, and all hanging out on Pedophile Island. And the US government responds like, hey guys, let the internet figure it out. What is this? A group project? Are you serious? You want me to do your job? You want some guy on Reddit cross-referencing flight logs at 2 a.m. while he's eating Cheetos? Like, you want TikTokers playing a game of Clue. Hey, it was Prince Andrew in having a massage with the undergirl. What is this? It is not the job of private citizens to figure out clues. I don't understand. Is the FBI too busy to do their job? Here's what should have happened. They should have released the name. They should have arrested predators. They should have held the trials, like a functioning justice system. Right, but instead you give us 4 million trillion documents with no index, no categorization, redactions everywhere. Then say, hey, good luck with that, guys. Like, let us know if you find anything. Wallahi azim, not even a third world country dictatorship would do that to us. In third world countries, they would release nothing, keep us in the dark, like a self-respected dictatorship. But this choose your own adventure bullshit. This like figure it out on your own. What kind of service is this? Like, I mean, the government takes half of my money so I can do its job, and then sends the other half to Israel. I mean, this is just like dysfunctional, And I'm just like, and my wider view of this, my first time I appeared with you, Piers, I talked about like how Israel is like a narcissistic psychopath, and it went viral because people felt it. Because you see, narcissists don't just lie to you. They create an entire alternate reality and pull you into it. That's why it's called the narcissist shared reality. The narcissist builds an alternate, highly controlled reality and pulls other people into it. And in that false reality, the narcissists are always, they're special, they're misunderstood, they are victimized. Yeah? And Israel does this on a national level for decades, right? They have told us we're the victim, we have no choice, it's self-defense, And in the same thing now with Epstein. It's a shared reality. Oh, maybe he's a Russian spy. Maybe he is. It's like, it's right in front of our eyes. And we have to go through these like mental gymnastics and figure it out. It's right there. Nothing is gray, Mr. Dershowitz. Nothing is gray. Genocide is not gray. Sex trafficking is not great.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and it wasn't committed. Genocide is what was committed.
I understand that you are a lawyer.
What's committed in parts of Africa? Genocide was committed many times.
Let Alan respond.
Why do you keep cutting me off?
Let Alan respond. No, let Alan respond.
First of all, let's be very clear. Genocide has a
okay. You know what? I can just like log out because
genocide is not fighting a war. You're allowing me to respond, please. God. Genocide is fighting a war.
You responded. It's my turn to speak. You keep cutting me off.
Let me respond,
this is not your courtroom, Mr. Dershowitz.
Are you going to let me respond?
No, you didn't let me respond.
So here's the point.
Okay.
You're not going to let me respond.
You know what? This is just like it's
let me respond.
Useless. No. I will not let you respond because you didn't let me talk.
Let me respond. You're not going to let me respond.
And I will not let me talk. It's just like childish at this point.
So we can't continue then. If he won't let me talk, we can't continue.
You are not letting me talk.
Filibuster me by his lies.
He is sabotaging the interview
now he wants,
by consistently cutting me off.
The man who runs this show wants to give me an opportunity to respond. Will you give me an opportunity to respond? Let me explain to you what genocide means. Genocide is the willful killing of an entire population in order to wipe out the population. The way the Germans and the Nazis took little babies from the Isle of Rhodes, put them on trains, transported them to the gas chambers to kill them, unrelated to war efforts. Genocide is not dropping an atomic bomb in Hiroshima. It's not bombing Berlin. It's not bombing Japan. And it's not what Israel did in Gaza when Hamas hid behind civilians. And Israel, notwithstanding that, they had the best ratio of combatants to civilians of any war in recent times. Even if you take all the Hamas figures, it's less than 3 to 1, probably closer to 1 to 1. At worst, it's 2 to 1. Most wars, it's 10 to 1 or 8 to 1. So there's not even a plausible claim of genocide. Only anti-Semites and people who are willing to engage in a blood libel are prepared to compare what Israel did defending itself in Gaza with what Nazis did in Germany, killing 6 million Jews, Roma people, people from all countries. Those were genocide. What the Muslims did in Turkey, killing the Armenians, that was genocide. What's going on now in Syria against the Kurdish people, that's genocide. These aren't war-fighting defenses. That's genocide. But when a country tries to defend its civilians by killing terrorists who are hiding behind civilians and civilians die, you could call it a lot of things, but the one thing you cannot call it is genocide and maintain your credibility as a decent human being. That is a blood libel to call it genocide.
Okay, you've all right. You've both made your.
I didn't make any points. I really didn't make any points.
I'm going to come to you, Bاسم, for the. Bاسم, I will come to you to respond. I just want to point out that on the Epstein scandal, what is quite telling is that the prediction markets, which people follow closely these days, Polymarket asked, will anyone be jailed over the Epstein disclosures? It reached a high of 48% at the beginning of the month, but it's now down to just 17%. And the Trump administration did, of course, promise, including on this show, that we'd see many prosecutions. It does seem quite extraordinary that now it's looking more and more likely that nobody will be jailed other than a woman, Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, Bاسم, you can have a final response to. Well, we need to see it, I think. Bاسم, your final response.
I'd like to see it too. I'd like to see a complete, thorough investigation. Anybody who committed crimes, including falsely accusing people of crimes, should be put in jail. And anybody who committed crimes, pedophilia or anything else like it, should be put in jail. And I hope they are.
Okay. On that, we're all agreed. Bاسm, final word to you.
I think that Epstein Island showed us that in order to be powerful, you need first to be compromised. And as long as you are compromised, only then you can stay powerful. This is the conclusion of all of this. None of these people go to jail. There will be like a couple of fall guys, Peter Attia, he will lose his thing, all of this, it's important. But the billionaires, the people in power, they will be untouchable. We will not see a single person that's going to go behind bar unless he's not protected.
But they have to be guilty.
Mr. Dershowitz, why are you
Who are they?
Dude, what?
Who are
I
they?
didn't even talk about you. Why are you... It's just like, it's so frustrating.
I care about innocent people being prosecuted. I care about McCarthyism. I don't want to see a return of McCarthyism.
I'm sorry, what did I just say? That,
association.
What did I just say? That
well, how do we know if there are billionaires who were involved? If there are, let's name them. Let's get the evidence and let's prosecute them and let's put them in jail. But not on the basis of McCarthyism, not on the basis of guilt by association. Let's do it on the basis of real evidence. I'm in favor of that. You and I agree with that.
No one will be punished and no one will go to jail, and these people will go. When these files have got released, even with all of these redactions, the one thing that should have been done, that all of these people should now be at least investigated. We didn't even, you have like an FBI director, and you have, you have an FBI director who came out and said there's no sex trafficking, and the email proved otherwise. You have all of the people like, there's nothing, and then the emails proved otherwise. And you have like the FBI director, Kash Patel, who said once, America needs to wake up and prioritize Israel. Don Bongino, second man in the FBI, said like, Israel is very close to my heart. How do you expect truth from these people? I think, they are all like working for a different master, and they're not working for the American people. So I really don't expect anything. None of these people will see a day of investigation, a day of jail.
All I know, all I know is
will be people who are useless or unimportant.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Bassem. I do think that, unfortunately, the Trump administration, before and after the election, made it clear they were going to be totally transparent. All the files were going to get released. We've now had 3 million heavily redacted files released, and there's apparently over 3 million more which are never going to see the light of day. That is not transparency. That is why the conspiracy theories
They should. I want everything out.
But that's part of the problem, man. And if no rich, powerful people in the end are made remotely accountable, people will assume they are names that were redacted or never published. Yeah, but unless you publish the files, they can hide behind the redactions and the lack of publication.
Every name should be published, including the name of those who accuse them, so that if there's a false accusation, the people who have been accused can confront their accusers. Otherwise, it's McCarthyism. That's why from day one, I wanted no redactions. I want everything out there. The only redaction should be for minors, people below the age of consent.
Okay. We're going to leave it there. I appreciate you both coming on and debating this, and I appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
You're not going to agree about much, but I'm grateful for the debate. Thank you very much.
Oh, by the way, Piers, Mr. Ryan Grimm, the one that you have hosted in the beginning of the show. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Mr. Ryan Grimm. And as a matter of fact, I want to remind you of something. When I went to you in London a year and a half ago, I brought up to you the fact that Bill Clinton was compromised when Netanyahu told you that we have the tapes of Monica Lewinsky. And at that time, you called me like stupid, conspiracy theories, and you told me this is ridiculous. Mr. Ryan Grimm has made like a complete investigation about this. So please, if you would like host him again, so we can tell you how Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky was actually a Mossad operation.
Well, you know what, Bassem, here's what I would say in response to that.
After all, sir, have you no shame?
After all, Cher, have you no shame? I mean, it's
you have
enough
no
to
shame, none at all. You're accusing an innocent young girl, Monica Lewinsky. You're accusing her of being complicit with Clinton in some kind of a Mossad scheme. You have no credibility. That's enough.
Check the Times of Israel and check the book that was written by an Israeli author about this.
Yeah,
your people are actually saying that and wrote stuff about that, sir.
Okay, as I said in a previous panel, actually, it's got to the stage. It's got to the stage with the Epstein scandal. Lovely. It's got to the stage of the Epstein scandal where I would pretty much entertain the possibility of any conspiracy theory being true, because so many that were dismissed as conspiracy theories have emerged as having credibility. But we shall see. There's a lot more still to pour over.
We shall see.
Thank you both very much.
We shall see. Let's make sure there's evidence of everything. Evidence. That's the key.
Let's see the evidence. Let's see the evidence. But thank you both very much.
That's what I want to see. I want to see all the evidence. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to leave it there. Thank you.